Hello, dear DSC candidates. Welcome back to my Grammar for Success channel. I am Koresh Babu, a retired lecturer in English from Hyderabad. In this video, I am going to explain all about the remedial, the reflective, the reciprocal teaching. I therefore request all of you to pay a very good attention to this video till the end without skipping it in the middle. I also request all of you to consider subscribing to my channel and also sharing this video with all your friends who are also going to take the DSC examination very shortly along with you. Thank you so much. Now let's get into the video. Remedial teaching, a brief account. So at the beginning of the video, I would like to talk to you a few very important points about this remedial teaching very briefly. So what is this remedial teaching? Come on, I will give you the meaning of this remedial teaching. The remedial teaching, okay, is designed to help learners who face difficulties in understanding or mastering certain concepts or skills. So this is all about the remedial teaching. The idea about the remedial teaching is given in this first point. So here the remedial teaching also means the corrective teaching. It also means the educative teaching, and it also means the helpful teaching. So here this remedial teaching is designed. Design means intended, or it is prepared. Why? To help learners. To help learners means here to help the students. What kind of students? Who face difficulties. Who face difficulties means who face problems where in understanding or mastering certain concepts. So the students who face difficulties in understanding or mastering certain concepts. Concepts means what? Ideas, thoughts or theories, whatever you can say. So in understanding or mastering certain concepts or certain skills, for such students this remedial teaching is going to help. So here this remedial teaching aims at helping those learners that face difficulties, that face problems in understanding or mastering certain concepts or certain skills. So here this is all about this remedial teaching. Okay, and next you see that it focuses on identifying the students having gaps in knowledge. So this is very important. What does this remedial teaching do? It focuses, it concentrates on what? Identifying. Identifying means finding out whom the students having gaps in knowledge. Having gaps means what? Deficient areas in knowledge. Suppose if there are 40 students in a given classroom, not all the students are equally intelligent. Not all the students are equally clever and all that. Some students may be lagging behind in studies by other students. So that kind of problem is there. So I'll give you one example. If there are 40 students in that class, 5 students may be somewhat weak in understanding certain things. Some students may be backward in understanding certain things. So here for 35 students are forward students, 5 students are backward students in studies. Okay, keep this point in your mind. So here this remedial teaching first of all focuses on finding out those students that have gaps in knowledge. That have gaps means that have deficient areas in knowledge. Knowledge means here in various subjects. Take it for granted, English grammar is there, English subject, mathematics, science, biology, geology, chemistry, physics, okay, and economics. There may be so many subjects, So in various subjects, the students might feel some kind of gaps. So this remedial teaching first of all identifies the students that have gaps in knowledge, and later on it provides them with a targeted help to address them. Later on this remedial teaching provides them the targeted help. Targeted means specific help in that particular area. Suppose grammar is there. There are several topics in that grammar. Use of articles, use of prepositions, use of tenses, use of pronouns. So various topics are there. Okay, with regard to tenses, some students might understand all about the tenses. Some students may not understand all about the tenses, and that's why what happens, that is the specific area for those students. Whatever the aspect of the subject the students don't understand, so that is called the deficient area of knowledge. So in this way, this remedial teaching first of all finds out the students that have gaps in knowledge, first thing, okay, and later on it provides them the targeted help, the targeted knowledge, the specific knowledge, and afterwards, it makes the students get rid of their problems in understanding certain concepts and skills and all that. So this is all about the remedial teaching. Okay, and now we are going to learn about the key features of this remedial teaching. What are the key features of the remedial teaching? See, the remedial teaching aims at helping learners who are lagging in studies. This remedial teaching aims at helping whom? The learners. What kind of learners? Who fall behind in studies. For such students, this remedial teaching offers help. Okay, it aims at helping those students, those learners. And the next feature of this remedial teaching is it is not reteaching. It's an important aspect. Some time ago it was given in the examination. Okay, this remedial teaching is not a reteaching. Again, the whole subject is not going to be taught to the students. For example, tenses are there: present tense, past tense, future tense. Okay, certain boys are there, they have understood all about the present tense, all about the past tense, but they have not understood all about the future tense. So this is only the specific area, and the teacher is not going to teach all about the tenses once again. What does the teacher do? The teacher will teach those backward students only that area in which they are weak, in which they are lagging behind. That is the point. Therefore, it is not reteaching all the subject, only the specific area in which the students are deficient, in which the students are poor. So that area of the topic will be taught to the students, and therefore it is highly specific. Not all the tenses are taught to the students. Only in whichever part of the topic the students are poor, okay, only in future tense. So only future tense is taught to the students. That's all. Not the present tense, not the past tense. Because the students are poor only in future tense, in understanding the future tense. So that is the area. So that's why this is highly specific. The teacher will take up only the future tense, and again that future tense is taught to those backward students. So that is called the remedial teaching, the corrective teaching, the educative teaching, the helpful teaching. So it has got so many names. You can call it by any one of these three names. Okay, and here it is need based. It is need based. It means because the students are supposed to learn all about the tenses. All the 35 students have understood about the tenses, whereas these 5 students have not understood something about the future tense. So here all the students must move forward in that course. If 5 students are lagging behind in studies, and only 35 students are moving forward, that is not called a good class. All the students must be made equal in acquiring knowledge. So that's why this remedial teaching will come to rescue to those students that are weak in studies, that are poor in studies, that are backward in studies, and all that. And now you move on to other important features of this remedial teaching. Another important feature of this remedial teaching is this one. It is more like a crash course. Crash course means shortcut course. Some MSET crash course, some NEET crash course, some crash courses are there. Crash courses means within a short period all the items are covered very briefly. That is called a crash course. So this remedial teaching is also just like that crash course, one point, and it has more practice than theory. So in this remedial teaching, more teaching will not be there, only practice will be more and more and more and more. So more practice will be there and less theory will be there in this remedial teaching. So this is yet another important feature of this remedial teaching. And we move on to the next point. What is that? It focuses on rectifying the learners learning gaps. Okay, this remedial teaching, what does it do? It focuses on, it concentrates on rectifying means correcting what? The learners means the students learning gaps. Learning gaps means gaps in knowledge, deficient areas in knowledge. That is the meaning of this phrase, learning gaps. And misunderstandings means mistakes, errors or confusions. So this remedial teaching will try to rectify the learners' learning gaps and also their misunderstandings. Misunderstandings means confusions. Some students may not have clear idea about the tenses. They may have some confusion. So this remedial teaching will clear off those confusions and those mistakes and all that, right? And you go to the next important feature. It offers the learners individualized and small group instruction. So this remedial teaching will offer the learners or the students individualized instruction. Individualized means personalized instruction. Okay, because out of 40 students, only 5 students are poor. Some 5 students are backward in understanding that particular topic. So the teacher will take personal interest in all of them, and then the teacher will teach all the things in which they are poor, all the things in which they are deficient. Okay, taking personal interest. That's why this teaching offers the students personalized teaching, coaching, right? And small group instruction also. Small group means all the 5 students will be taken at one place, and that's called a small group instruction. Sometimes teaching all the students in a small group, or teaching some individual students separately also. So that is yet another important feature of this remedial teaching. And you go to the next point about this is, it often involves repetition. Very important thing is, in this remedial teaching, you can find a repetition. Whatever the teacher teaches them, the students are made to repeat. So the more they repeat, the more they can learn very easily. So that's why what happens, generally for backward students or poor students, repetition will work very wonderfully. Repetition will work very successfully. Therefore, what the teachers do, they make them repeat the things they learn. One thing, they make the students practice the things they learn. They make the students repeat the things, they make the students practice the things, and simplified instruction. And in this remedial teaching, there will be only simple teaching, easy teaching, understandable teaching. No tough language is used in that remedial teaching. So here, so these 3 things are very important in this remedial teaching: more repetition, more practice, and simplified instruction. And therefore, these backward students can easily understand all those things, and therefore they can now progress on par with other students, other forward students of the class. So that advantage is there, that thing is there. So this is all about this remedial teaching. And now you move on to the strategies used by the teachers. So here, what are the strategies used by the teachers in order to make the students progress on par with other forward students, means other brilliant students or other clever students, means here the teachers adapt certain strategies. What are those strategies? Let us see that first of all. So here you pay attention. Diagnostic testing. First of all, this the teachers, what do the teachers do? The teachers hold a diagnostic testing. Diagnostic testing means the test that finds out the weak students, the backward students and all that. That is called diagnostic testing. So teachers hold a test to identify specific areas of weakness of the students. So the teacher holds a test in certain topic, okay, and the teacher wants to find out who is forward in that test, who is backward, who is poor. So those things, the teacher will understand. And the teacher will find out those students that are poor in that particular topic, that are backward in that particular topic. So that is the point. For example, the chapter of articles is there. So in that, use of A is very easy for you. Use of an is very easy for you. Use of the is very easy for you. But the omission of articles, that area is somewhat difficult for you. It is all confusing to you. When the teacher finds out that so-and-so students are not doing well in so-and-so area, in so-and-so aspect of the topic, then the teacher will separate them from the remaining students, and then the teacher will give a separate coaching. That separate coaching itself is called the remedial coaching, the remedial teaching. You know that very well. These things will take place in your colleges and your schools also. So that's called remedial teaching. Very interesting, right? You go to learn other important strategies which the teachers adopt to help the students progress on par with the clever students of the class. Come on, let's now move on to learn about them. Another strategy which the teachers follow in the class is drill and practice. This is yet another important strategy. So they make the students do exercises repeatedly to reinforce learning. So here, in order to help the poor students or weak students in the class, okay, what do the teachers do? They make the students do exercises repeatedly. So if you do some exercise repeatedly, you can easily follow that. You can easily understand that. Doing any exercise repeatedly, even you are going to take the DSC examination. So old DSC question papers will be there. If you keep on practicing them, if you keep on solving them with making use of a pencil, what happens? After sometimes you become perfect in solving such question papers in the examination. You don't feel a stranger in the examination hall. So you can easily get through the exam. Practice makes a man perfect, you know very well. Practice, practice, practice. So practice makes a man perfect. And therefore, the teachers make the students do exercises repeatedly to reinforce learning, to support learning, to strengthen their learning. Okay, and here, so drill and practice, this is another strategy. And another strategy is also here, that is called scaffolding. Scaffolding means supporting. What is that? They help the students break down tasks into smaller and more manageable steps. So here the teachers help the students break down big tasks. Okay, generally if the big students feel that the tasks are very big for them, then the teachers will break down those tasks into smaller ones or convenient ones. So in this way, this is yet another important strategy which the teachers follow to help the weak students. Because the weak students cannot face a big task, and therefore the teachers help the weak students break down that big task into small pieces and convenient pieces, and then the teacher asks them to do that task or perform that task. So that is yet another important strategy which the teachers follow in this remedial teaching. Okay, and here you pay attention. Peer tutoring. Peer means what? An equal. In the class, who is your equal? The other students are your equals, isn't it? So you are a student in that class. 40 students are there in that class. You are one of them, and all the 39 students are your peers. Peer means the other students. This is a technical word. So peer tutoring. Tutoring means teaching. So peer tutoring is yet another important strategy which the teachers follow in this remedial teaching. What is that? They encourage the peers. The peers means what? The other students. Okay. This is a weak boy in the class. These 39 are called peers. So the teacher will ask these 39 students to help this weak student. So they encourage the peers to help the struggling or lagging students. Maybe there are 5 students here, lagging students or weak students are 4 or 5 students are there. Okay, take for so these 35 students, what do? They are peers and they help these 5 students, because if the students teach their classmates, because they are all of the equal age, they are of the equal caliber, ability and all that. So in their own words, if they teach, the other students can easily understand. The teacher might teach you beyond your comprehension, but the students teaching other students will be very interesting, because the students will be teaching the students on par with their mind. Okay, on par with their mind means whatever the mind they have, the other students will also have the same mind. So when they teach these students, they can easily understand. So here making the peers to teach or to help other students, backward students or lagging students or struggling students. So many names are given: weak students, lagging students, struggling students, backward students, poor students. You can give them so many names to the backward students or weak students. So these remaining students will help the weak students, and in that way these weak students can easily understand the things from their classmates. Okay, that is very easy. From the teacher they may not understand, but from their classmates, they can easily understand. So that's why here this is yet another important strategy which the teachers adopt in this remedial teaching approach. Okay, and you go to the next one, targeted feedback. Targeted means specific feedback. So at the end of the remedial teaching, they means the teachers provide the students with immediate and specific feedback. So at the end of the remedial teaching, the teacher will provide the students with immediate feedback, whether the students are progressing or regressing, whether the students are doing well or not. So that thing is immediately informed to them. The backward students will understand whether they are progressing or not, whether they are doing well or not, whether they are learning the things well or not, or still they are backward, still they are poor. So all such things, the backward students will learn from the teachers. So giving the feedback to the students immediately at the end of the remedial teaching is really a fantastic strategy. So in this way, these are all the strategies the teachers will adopt in the remedial teaching classroom. Okay, right. And you move on to the next one. Benefits. What are the benefits that you can reap out of this remedial teaching? Means here the benefits are given here. This teaching, what happens, helps students catch up with their peers. Catch up. That means to reach the same standard as others. So here this teaching will help these backward students reach the same standard as their peers. As their peers means as their classmates. All his classmates are doing well in the classroom. They are all moving forward, but these students are there. They are backward. They are poor in studies. So now what happens now? This remedial teaching will make these weak students or poor students in studies move forward equally along with other students. Move forward equally along with other students, on par with other students. So that advantage is there. That is the first benefit. And here next, this teaching builds confidence in the students in weak areas. So this teaching will fill the backward students with confidence, because they were said to be weak in certain areas of knowledge. But now what happened? The teacher has taught all those things. Now their doubts are clarified. Now there are no deficient areas in knowledge. Now they are on par with other classmates. Okay, and all such things are there. So that's why what happens? They will be filled with the confidence. That point is there. And you go to the next one. This teaching improves foundational knowledge and skills. Foundational means basic knowledge and skills. So here all basic things are taught in this remedial teaching, because there is no foundational knowledge in those backward students. They have failed to understand the main things in the class. So that's why what happens in the remedial teaching, the teachers will teach them foundational knowledge and skills. So they teach them the basic things of the topic, other important basic things, concepts and all such things. Therefore what happens this teaching will improve the foundational knowledge and skills. So in this way, there are three advantages with this remedial teaching. Very interesting teaching, very important. Now you move on to learn about other things of this remedial teaching. Challenges. What are the disadvantages of this remedial teaching? Okay, every method, every approach, every teaching procedure has both merits and demerits, advantages and disadvantages. So this remedial teaching approach has also got certain challenges or certain disadvantages. What are they? Let us now learn here. This sort of teaching can make students feel singled out or demotivated. So The first disadvantage that you can find in this remedial teaching is only this kind of teaching, separate teaching, private teaching, okay, special teaching, whatever you can call it, remedial teaching. What does it do? It can make students feel singled out. Singled out means separated or excluded from the remaining class students or from the remaining class. So they feel that kind of feeling they might get. These so-called weak students will learn all other things collectively along with other students in the class. That's okay. But here, when they are separated to teach them the deficient areas of knowledge, okay, then they might feel they are singled out or they are separated, they are excluded from the other students. So in that way, the students might feel singled out or demotivated. Demotivated means discouraged or dispirited. So these two things might take place. Teaching and another disadvantage is also there. It may focus too much on weaknesses rather than on strengths. So this remedial teaching will focus more on the weaknesses than on the strengths. Strengths means strong points. So these weak students might be strong in other areas also, in other subjects. But only in some subjects, in some areas, these 5 students are weak. That's only the thing. But they are not completely weak in all the subjects. But here, this remedial teaching is concentrating more on their weaknesses than on their strengths. So this is therefore called a disadvantage in this remedial teaching. Okay, and here one example is given to make you understand what this remedial teaching is all about. So here you pay attention. After an English test, a teacher identifies that some students struggle with the use of articles. The teacher has held some test for all the students of the class, and all the students have done very well in that test, but only a few of them are lagging behind in the use of articles. They are struggling with the use of articles. They are lagging behind in the use of articles, right? And now what does the teacher do? So the teacher conducts a special session and teaches them the use of article. For these students who are struggling with the use of articles, for them the teacher holds a special session or special class and teaches the use of the articles and gives them some hands-on activities. Hands-on activities means activities provide practical experience. Activities that provide practical experiences are called hands-on activities. So to make you learn this one, I have given you this meaning also in the brackets. Hands-on activities. Hands-on activities means activities that provide practical experiences. So the teacher will give them these hands-on activities to improve their understanding of the topic. This is the topic in which they are weak. This is the topic in which they are lagging behind. So what happens? The teacher has taken a special class. The teacher has taught all about the articles. The teacher has given them hands-on activities, and the teacher has tried his or her best to improve their understanding of the topic. So in this way, this is a beautiful example. From this you can understand what the remedial teaching is. Okay, remedial teaching is generally offered only to those students that are weak in certain areas of the topic. It is just like a crash course, but it's not a reteaching. It is not a reteaching. Reteaching means completely from the beginning till the end, teaching all the things. That is the reteaching. It's not like that. In a shortcut way, in a brief way, the whole things are taught very briefly to those backward students or to those weak students. So this is all about the remedial teaching. Okay, now we are going to learn about the second type of teaching, that is reflective teaching. Come on, let us learn about that. Reflective teaching, a brief account. So now I'm going to talk to you very briefly about the reflective teaching. What is this reflective teaching? The reflective teaching focuses on encouraging learners and teachers to think critically. Critically means the meaning of this is given in the brackets, judiciously. Judiciously means, in other words, wisely. Okay. About their learning and teaching practices. This is all about the reflective teaching. And what is the actual meaning of this? Reflective means thoughtful, insightful. But here, don't take that meaning, but let us take its figurative meaning. What is its figurative meaning? Reflective means purposeful. Let us take purposeful. Purposeful is there. This reflective teaching is nothing but the purposeful teaching. This purposeful teaching is fully committed to achieving the goal. That is it. So this reflective teaching focuses on what? Encouraging learners. Learners means again students. Learners are none other than the students themselves. You know that very well. So here, this reflective teaching focuses on encouraging learners and teachers. It encourages both the learners and the teachers. That's the first point. To think critically. How does this teaching encourage them? Means to think critically. To think critically means to think wisely. To think judiciously, like that. About what? About their learning. The students think critically about their learning, about their knowledge, about what they are learning in the class. Okay. And here the teachers think critically about their teaching practices. In this way, this reflective teaching will encourage both the students and the teachers. These are the students, these are the teachers. It encourages both of them. And this encourages the students to think critically about the learning. It encourages the teachers to think critically about their teaching practices. So that is only the reflective teaching. Okay. And next point about this reflective teaching is it promotes self-awareness and continuous improvement of the learners. So this reflective teaching aims at promoting, aims at encouraging, aims at supporting what? Self-awareness. Self-awareness means awareness, okay, of one's own personality. One's own personality. Self-awareness means awareness of one's own personality. తన వ్యక్తిత్వం గురించి తానే తెలుసుకొనుట. That is called self-awareness. So you know that very well. So it promotes self-awareness of the learners and it also supports continuous improvement. Continuous means constant improvement. Okay, non-stop development of the learners. So this reflective teaching promotes or encourages self-awareness of the learners and continuous development of the learners. So these two things it will promote, and therefore this reflective teaching is considered a very good teaching. Okay, and now let's move on to learn other things. Key features. What are the key features of this reflective teaching? Means this teaching, okay, what does it do? It involves self-assessment and critical thinking. Okay, here this teaching includes what? Self-assessment. Assessment means evaluation. So evaluation of one's own actions. An assessment of one's own actions, what he is doing, what he is learning, what he is able to understand. All such things are called self-assessment, whether he is progressing or regressing. Okay, whether he is doing well in the studies or not. So all such things will come under self-assessment. So this teaching involves self-assessment and critical thinking. Critical thinking means wise thinking or judicious thinking. You must think always wisely. You must think always judiciously. That's very interesting. So this teaching involves or includes self-assessment and critical thinking, these two things. And next, it encourages what? Students to reflect on their learning processes. So this teaching helps the students to reflect on their learning process, what they are learning, how they are learning, okay, how much they are picking up. Okay, how the teachers are teaching them. Okay, what aspects they are being taught. So all such things come under learning process. So here this teaching encourages these students to reflect on, to think about their learning process. That is the next key feature of this reflective teaching. And the third one is that it promotes a growth mindset. So this teaching will promote what? A growth mindset. Growth mindset means a growing mentality. Mindset means mentality, the state of mind. So here this teaching promotes or encourages a growing mentality. So these are the three important features of this reflective teaching. And what else are there? Let us now move on to learn about them also. Another feature of this reflective teaching is teachers also at regular intervals reflect on their teaching methods and their outcomes. So this is very interesting. Teachers at regular intervals means frequently, very often, what do? They reflect on. Reflect on means to think about. Think about what? Their teaching methods. Whether their teaching methods are fruitful, whether their teaching methods are giving good results or not, whether their teaching methods are successful or not. All such things they will think about. That is what the teachers will think about at regular intervals or frequently. So that is a very good feature of this reflective teaching. And their outcomes also, whether these methods I am adopting are giving good results or not. If the teacher thinks in that way, no, if that is not giving good results, immediately the teacher will change that method and she will adopt some other method. And in that way, the teacher should keep on reflecting upon the methods they are using in the classroom. So here in this teaching, what happens now, the teachers at regular intervals reflect on their teaching methods and their outcomes. And in this way, so far you have learnt four key features of the reflective teaching. And here you pay attention, strategies used by the teachers. Okay, in this reflective teaching, what are the strategies followed by the teachers means here they are clearly mentioned. Here see, teachers journaling is there. Journaling means what? The teachers encourage students to write about their learning experiences. In this reflective teaching, the teachers will encourage the students to write about their learning experiences, what they are learning in the class, how the teachers are teaching them, and whether the methods the teachers adopt are giving good results to them or not, are useful to them or not, successful to them or not, helpful to them or not, all such things. So they are asked to write about their learning experiences. Because if the students can write all those things clearly on a piece of paper, what happens? The teachers will understand, oh, this method is not helpful to them, so we have to change this method. So this method is very useful to them, so this must be continued. So like that, the teachers might think or change their pattern of teaching and all that. Okay, and here this is a beautiful strategy that teachers can adopt in this reflective teaching. And here you pay attention, self-assessment. Ask students to evaluate their own work. So the teachers should follow another strategy. What is that? The teacher should ask students to evaluate their own work. Because after writing some essay, after writing some answers, the students themselves should correct them, to evaluate them. They should be given freedom to evaluate their own work. If that is the thing, they understand where they have gone wrong, why they have gone wrong, all such things they will understand. They might improve a lot. Because they themselves will come to know what they have written in the test, whether their answers are correct or wrong. They themselves will understand. So that's why the teachers must adopt this beautiful strategy of asking students to evaluate their own work. And the next, peer feedback. Encourage students to review each other's work. So this is yet another important strategy that the teachers can follow in this reflective teaching approach. What is that? The teacher should encourage the students to review each other's work. I review your work, he reviews my work. That's really very interesting. I evaluate your answer paper, you evaluate my answer paper. Then what happens? There will not be any problem at all. Here what happens? From my point of view, I am always correct. But from your point of view, I may be wrong at some places. So that's why what happens, this peer feedback is very important. This is a beautiful strategy, encouraging students to review each other's work, each other's answer sheets, each other's project work, each other's homework, each other's tasks and all that. So that is that. And here a teacher reflection is there. Teacher reflection means analyze their own lessons to identify whether they require any improvements. So another strategy which the teachers can adopt in this reflective teaching is analyzing their own lessons, analyzing their own methods of teaching, okay, to identify whether they require any improvements. I have already told you here, every now and then the teachers must check whether their methods of teaching are beneficial to the students or not, are helpful to the students or not. So every time the teachers must check whether their teaching is understandable to them. That's very important. If you just keep on teaching in your own way, means that's not the thing. You must check whether your way of teaching is understandable to the students. That's very important. Whatever you are teaching must be understood by the students. So whether they are able to understand you or not, whether they are able to follow you or not, that thing you must check. Then what happens, if they find any disparity, if they find any difference, then they must improve their way of teaching. They must change their methods of teaching and all such things. Now you move on to learn other important things of this reflective teaching. The last strategy which the teachers can adopt in this reflective teaching is think, pair and share. So according to this, what should the teachers do? The teachers should encourage students to think, okay, and to discuss with a partner, okay, and to share insights. Okay, so that is what the teacher should do with the students. The teachers should ask the students to think deeply about something and discuss with a partner. Partner means the student seated on his left or right, whatever it is, and to share insights. Insights means understandings. So what he has understood about so and so thing. Okay, so this is therefore called think, pair and share. So this is yet another important strategy. So in this way, these are the 5 strategies that the teachers can follow in this reflective teaching approach. And here now let us learn about the benefits of this reflective teaching. Okay, what are the benefits of this teaching? This teaching enhances means enriches, okay, develops or improves what? Metacognition. Metacognition means the meaning of this is given again in the brackets. Metacognition means thinking about thinking. So it improves metacognition, 1 point. The second advantage of this teaching is encourages students to take ownership of their own learning. Taking ownership of their learning means to learn whatever they wish to learn. This teaching encourages students to have learning autonomy. That means, learning freedom. Whatever they want to learn, they should learn. So they are at liberty to learn whatever they want to learn. So that is called that's taking ownership of their learning. That means you are responsible for your own learning. And this is the second advantage of this reflective teaching. And here you pay attention. This teaching improves what? Problem solving skills and decision making skills. Okay, problem solving, very well, solving the problems. Okay, the skills that pertain to problem solving, the skills pertaining to decision making. So decision making is making a decision. Most of the people don't know how to take decisions correctly, properly, and most of the people don't know how to solve the problems. So here, this teaching improves what? Problem solving skills and decision making skills. And next, some disadvantages are also there with this reflective teaching. What are the disadvantages? This kind of teaching requires time for deep thinking and analysis. So this kind of teaching, that means this reflective teaching will require more time for thinking. You cannot do anything in a hurly-burly manner. You have to think about certain things very carefully. Only after thinking about something very carefully, you have to take a decision. So therefore, it requires time. But in this teaching, you don't find enough time for deep thinking and for analysis. Analysis means examination. You require a lot of time. For these two things, you don't find any time in this teaching. Okay, and here students may resist self-evaluation or honest feedback. So here, second disadvantage of this reflective teaching is the students might resist. Resist means defy or oppose self-evaluation. Self-evaluation means evaluating one's own self, one's own actions. Self-evaluation means evaluation of one's own actions or assessment of one's own actions. So that's called self-evaluation, evaluating his own answer sheets. So that thing certain students don't like, because they want others to evaluate his answers, and certain students don't want to evaluate their own answer sheets and all that. So that they don't like, they resist that, and also they don't want to give honest feedback. Some students are there, they cannot give honest feedback. Out of 10 fill in the blanks, only 2 are correct, 8 are wrong, take for granted. But this guy says, all are right, sir. You have to believe in his words. Even if 5 are right and 5 are wrong, the boy says, all are right, sir. Only 9 are right, 1 is wrong, sir. Something, he will give some wrong information. Honest feedback will not be there in that way. So therefore, these are the 2 disadvantages in this reflective teaching. So the students don't find enough time for deep thinking and analysis, 1 point, and the students don't like self-evaluation and they don't give honest feedback. So these are all the disadvantages. And now you move on to learn other things of this reflective teaching. One example is given for this reflective teaching. Here you pay attention. After completing a project, students are asked to write a reflection on. So after completing a project, the students are asked to write about their feelings, about their experiences, about their thoughts and so on. So they keep all these questions in their mind. What worked well and what challenges did they face? What helped them most in their course of project? How could they achieve the target in time? So here, the answer to these questions itself will be their reflection on certain project. So in this way, the students are asked to write a reflection on the project given to them. They themselves have done this project and therefore they know very well about that project. They will write all the things on a piece of paper. This is all about the reflective teaching. Okay, and now we move on to learn about the reciprocal teaching. Right. Reciprocal teaching, a brief account. So now I am going to talk to you very briefly about this reciprocal teaching. Reciprocal means mutual or joint, or in other words you can say reciprocal means give and take. I give you, I take. Give and take is called reciprocal. Now let us learn about this reciprocal teaching. So this reciprocal teaching involves a two-way exchange of knowledge and ideas between the teacher and students or among peers. So here the reciprocal teaching, just now I have told you that reciprocal means give and take. That is the meaning of this reciprocal. So the reciprocal teaching involves a two-way exchange of knowledge and between the teachers, okay, and then students, okay. This is nothing but the exchange of ideas and knowledge between the teachers and the students. That means the teachers give knowledge to the students will give their ideas to the teachers. The teachers will give their knowledge to the students and the students will give their ideas to the teachers. So this is therefore called reciprocal, give and take teaching. Okay, and what else is there? This reciprocal teaching promotes active learning. Active learning is live learning, very enthusiastic learning. Okay, how? Through discussion or dialogue or collaboration. So through discussion or collaboration. Collaboration means teamwork or group work, whatever it is. Okay, so teamwork or group work. So through discussion or through teamwork, this reciprocal teaching will promote active learning among the students. Okay, and here some key features are there. What are the key features of this reciprocal teaching? This kind of teaching is based on the idea of learning through interaction. So this reciprocal teaching is based on the idea of learning through interaction, through communication. Interaction is through communication. So the teachers give knowledge to the students and the students will give their opinions or ideas to the teachers. So in this way, the students will learn so many things only through interaction. This is the first feature of this reciprocal teaching. Another feature of this reciprocal teaching is it encourages students to be both teachers and learners. That means now the student will be what? Both a learner and what? A teacher. So he is only the learner, he is only the teacher. So two things are there in him: learning, teaching. So two things are there in him. So in this way, it encourages students to be both teachers and learners. That means the student themselves will be learners, the student themselves will be the teachers. So that is the second feature of this reciprocal teaching. Now you go to other things. Another feature of this reciprocal teaching is it focuses on developing critical thinking and communication skills. And this reciprocal teaching will focus on developing critical thinking, that's the first thing, and it also aims at developing communication skills of the students. So this is another important feature of this reciprocal teaching. Teacher and students share responsibility for learning. So here the teachers take responsibility for teaching and the students will take responsibility for learning. So in this way, both the teachers and the students share responsibility for their entire learning. So this is another important feature of this teaching. And here you pay attention. Strategies used in this teaching. What are the strategies used in this teaching? Means reciprocal teaching means give and take teaching, you know very well. Now, students take turns leading discussions and explaining concepts. That means the students by turns lead the discussions one after another. The students will participate in the discussion and later on they also start explaining the concepts to other students of the class. So this is called reciprocal teaching. The students teach themselves. The students participate in the discussion and they explain the concept to one another. They participate in the discussion, they lead the discussion, they explain concepts to one another. So all such things will take place. That is a very interesting strategy in this approach. And questioning, ask and answer questions to deepen their understanding. Students ask questions, students answer questions. So all these things are done by the students themselves. The students ask the questions and answer the questions. Why? To deepen their understanding, in order to understand the topic thoroughly well and deeply and all that. And here another strategy is peer teaching is there. What is this peer teaching? Teach each other in pairs and small groups. All the students of the class will teach each other. I teach him, he teaches me. I teach her, she teaches me. So it's in pair and some small groups also. I teach him and he teaches her, she teaches me. So this is a small group. So students themselves will teach so many things and so they learn so many things. So this is a beautiful technique, beautiful strategy adopted by the students in this reciprocal teaching. And now you move on to learn other things of this reciprocal teaching. Group discussion. The students encourage open dialogue about a topic. So the students take up one topic, XYZ topic is there. Okay, on that particular topic, all the students will have a dialogue. All the students will have a discussion. So the students encourage other students to participate in the dialogue, right? And this is called a group discussion. This is also a beautiful strategy, right? And collaborative problem solving is there. This is another strategy followed in this teaching approach. Collaborative problem solving, work together to find solutions. So the students work together to find solutions for various problems, right? And you go to the benefits of this teaching. This teaching, what does this teaching do? It promotes active learning and engagement. Active learning means not passive. Learning should not be passive. It should never be passive. It should be always active. Active is zealous learning or enthusiastic learning. Okay, so here this teaching promotes active learning. It also promotes engagement. Engagement means involvement in the discussions, in the dialogues, in the debates and all that. So this is there. It promotes these two things and it develops communication and leadership skills. Though this teaching develops communication skills of the students and leadership skills of the students. So these two kinds of skills will be developed in this teaching method. So another benefit of this reciprocal teaching is this teaching encourages deeper understanding of the topics, of the aspects through teaching others. So if you teach others, what happens now? The knowledge of that topic will be strengthened in you. Suppose you know about the tenses. If you teach those tenses to your friends, okay, automatically they learn the things thoroughly well. That's a different matter. But the knowledge of tenses in you will be very much strengthened, and you will become perfect in that. So if you teach others, the subject knowledge of yours will become perfect. When I was in SSC, I used to teach tenses to my dear friends, classmates, and by teaching my friends all about tenses, my knowledge of tenses has become strengthened and invigorated. It has become perfect. So in this way, through teaching others, you can have deeper understanding of any topic, any subject. Let's move on to learn other important things. There are some challenges with this reciprocal teaching. What are the challenges? The first disadvantage of this reciprocal teaching is it can be difficult to manage with the large groups. So if there is a big strength in the particular class, it will be very difficult for the students to manage with. So that kind of difficulty is there. This is the first disadvantage. And the second one here is some students may dominate the discussion while others will remain passive. So when some discussion or debate or some dialogue is going on, only one or two students might dominate the whole dialogue or whole discussion, and other students might remain passive. Okay, so that kind of disadvantage is also there. So in this way, if there is a heavy strength in that particular class, it is very difficult for the students themselves to manage with one disadvantage. Another disadvantage is there, when some discussion is going on in the class, what happens? Only a few students will be dominating the discussion and other students will remain passive. So that is disadvantage. So these are the two disadvantages here. And now one example is given for your understanding sake. In a literature class, students are divided into groups. Okay. In a literature class, students are divided into groups: A group, B group, C group, D group. Okay, in each group there are five students, 20 students. Each student takes a turn explaining a section of a story. From each group, one student will get up and start explaining a section of a story. Okay, from A group one student, B group one student, C group, D group. So from these four groups, 4 students will get up and start explaining the story. So, but what about the other 4 students of each group? They remain silent, they remain passive. So the danger is there. And here asking their peers questions about it. So afterwards, one group will be asking other group some questions. So in this way, they will be asking questions, they will be getting answers from them. So this is how the reciprocal teaching will take place in the classroom. So this is all about the reciprocal teaching, and summary is there. What is the summary? The remedial teaching is corrective. You know very well. It is corrective, it is educative, it is helpful. Okay, about this you know very well. This remedial teaching aims at helping struggling students and lagging students. This part you know very well. It's a summary point. Okay, right. And the reflective teaching is analytical. Analytical means logical or systematic. You know that very well. It encourages students to think about their learning. Okay, you know that very well. You go to the third type of teaching, the reciprocal teaching. It is collaborative. It is collaborative means it is cooperative, it is mutual, it is joint. You know very well. It promotes shared learning through dialogue and interaction. Through dialogue, through discussion. Through interaction means through communication. So the students will learn so many things in the class. So in this way, there are 3 types of teaching, and about all these 3 types of teaching I have mentioned here. And with this video comes to an end. And now let us move on to solve a small exercise given on this small topic. If you have thoroughly understood this topic, you can easily answer all the questions given in that exercise or in that test. Right. Okay. Multiple choice questions on remedial, reflective and reciprocal teaching. Okay. The remedial teaching primarily focuses on what? Enhancing critical thinking skills, correcting learning gaps and misunderstandings, promoting peer interaction, encouraging self-reflection. Right. You go to the second question. Which of the following is a common strategy used in the remedial teaching? Peer review, diagnostic testing, group discussions, reflective journaling. You move on to other questions. Third question. The reflective teaching encourages learners to repeat information until they memorize it, critically analyze their learning process, follow the teacher's instructions strictly, compete with their peers. Go to the sixth question. Reciprocal teaching is based on the idea of individual learning, memorization, teacher-centered instruction, shared responsibility and interaction. Fifth question. A teacher encourages students to keep a journal to analyze their learning experiences. This is an example of which teaching? Remedial teaching, reflective teaching, reciprocal teaching, directive teaching. Go to the sixth question. Peer teaching is a key strategy in which teaching? Remedial teaching, reflective teaching, reciprocal teaching, authoritative teaching. Seventh question. Which teaching involves diagnosing student weaknesses and providing targeted support? Reciprocal teaching, reflective teaching, remedial teaching, constructive teaching. Eighth question. A teacher asks students to assess their own work and suggest improvements. This reflects which teaching? Remedial teaching, reflective teaching, reciprocal teaching, directive teaching. Ninth question. Reciprocal teaching often includes which of the following activities? Silent reading, repeated drills, student-led discussions, teacher-led lectures. 10th question. Providing immediate and specific feedback is most essential in which teaching? Reflective teaching, remedial teaching, reciprocal teaching, constructive teaching. 11th question. Encouraging students to discuss their thought processes with each other is an example of which teaching? Reflective teaching, remedial teaching, reciprocal teaching, directive teaching. 12th question. A student reflecting on why he made certain mistakes in a test relates to which teaching? Remedial teaching, reflective teaching, reciprocal teaching, directive teaching. 13th question. Which teaching emphasizes breaking down tasks into smaller manageable steps? Remedial teaching, reflective teaching, reciprocal teaching, directive teaching. 14th question. Encouraging metacognition, thinking about thinking, is a key feature of which teaching? Reflective teaching, remedial teaching, reciprocal teaching, directive teaching. 15th question. Students working in pairs to explain concepts to each other is an example of? Reflective teaching, remedial teaching, reciprocal teaching, directive teaching. 16th question. A teacher conducting extra sessions for students struggling with grammar is an example of which teaching? Reflective teaching, remedial teaching, reciprocal teaching, constructive teaching. 17th question. What is the primary goal of the reflective teaching? Correcting mistakes, memorization of facts, encouraging critical thinking and self-assessment, developing fine motor skills. 18th question. Which of the following strategies is not part of the remedial teaching? Drill and practice, peer tutoring, reflective journaling, targeted feedback. 19th question. Asking students to explain a concept to their classmates demonstrates which teaching? Remedial teaching, reflective teaching, reciprocal teaching, directive teaching. 20th question. A teacher analyzing his own teaching methods and adjusting his teaching is an example of? Remedial teaching, reflective teaching, reciprocal teaching, constructive teaching. 21st question. Which teaching is most suitable for helping students who are falling behind academically? Reflective teaching, remedial teaching, reciprocal teaching, directive teaching. 22nd one. Encouraging students to identify what worked well and what didn't in a group project reflects which teaching? Remedial teaching, reflective teaching, reciprocal teaching, directive teaching. 23rd question. Allowing students to take turns leading a classroom discussion reflects which teaching? Remedial teaching, reflective teaching, reciprocal teaching, directive teaching. The last but one question. What is the main benefit of the reciprocal teaching? Individual mastery of content, enhanced critical thinking, improved collaboration and deeper understanding, focused correction of errors. The last question of this test is, which teaching is most suitable for developing problem solving and decision making skills? Remedial teaching, reflective teaching, reciprocal teaching, directive teaching. With this, this small exercise will come to an end. Now let's look at the answers for all these questions. These are the answers for the questions from 1 to 9. These are the answers for the questions from 10 to 19. These are the answers for the questions from 20 to 25. With this video comes to an end. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hello, dear DSC candidates. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you have any problem in understanding any of the things that I have dealt with in this video, please make a mention of it in the comment section. With another beautiful video, I shall be back to you. Until then, bye. See you. I love you.